Welcome back to Sport Lab, your home for in-depth football analysis. Today, we're diving into a dramatic night at Anfield, where Liverpool's Champions League journey came to a heartbreaking end. After a 1-0 defeat on the night and a 4-1 loss on penalties, PSG made history by becoming the first team to eliminate Liverpool from a European tie after losing the first leg at home. Let's break down the key moments from this intense clash.
Some Liverpool reaction now. Captain Virgil van Dijk is with Gabriel Clark.
Virgil, penalties are cruel always. It wasn't to be Liverpool's night tonight.
Unfortunately not. So it was a very intense, great game of football, I think, and to be part of it as well. I think obviously it was a totally different Liverpool than what we showed in Paris. And unfortunately, we out on penalties, and that's the reality.
Was the key maybe not making the most of those chances you created, especially second half?
Well, I think even the first half, I think we created dangerous moments. Obviously, you know that they have the quality to create them as well. But yeah, eventually it comes down to penalties, and yeah, unfortunately we lose.
Yeah, what do you say about those guys who've stepped forward and obviously not scored?
It's part of football. I said to the guys, you know, don't be. Obviously, you can be disappointed because we're out of the competition, but it's chin up and get ready for the next challenge. It's a beautiful one on the weekend, so we go again.
Does it feel like a shock to the system, having been so good for so much of this season?
I think we were pretty good today as well.
I mean, just going out.
Well, yeah, obviously you want to go as far as possible. And obviously, when the draw came and we knew we had to play against PSG, we always knew that it was going to be very difficult. And we saw it obviously in Paris, where we struggled, but we won. And today I think we showed a much better Liverpool side. But unfortunately, about the competition, that's the reality, and you have to accept it.
How good are this PSG team? You can hear them celebrating. They obviously feel this is a huge win. What do they have that caused you problems maybe over the two games?
Well, especially the first game, I think. Obviously, the man-v-man press. The amount of times that we didn't find the right solution, the right pass, because there were loads of spaces to go in between them. And I think the game in Paris was definitely a game from Alisson, but we didn't do as well as we did today. I think today, from the first second till obviously in extra time, where obviously fatigue kicks in for both sides, then start to become a little bit more open. But I think especially in the regular time, we showed a very good game. And listen, we can speak about the game for ages, but we're out of the competition. That's the reality.
Will it feel like a missed opportunity in its way as well, having been so good in the league phase?
Well, it's part and parcel. If you're in the knockout stages, we are, and you play against PSG, which team is obviously very, very good, then there is a chance that you get knocked out. And unfortunately, it happens to us. But we have to accept it. We will.
Obviously, come again in this competition next season.
Champions League is an amazing competition to be part of, so keep fighting for it.
And a final, as you say, to look forward to at the weekend. There has to be a response. There's the great chance for it to be a special response.
Oh, response! I think
a victory.
If we would play with the same intensity and quality that we did first in regular time, then it's going to be a beautiful game. But the focus will be now on recovery, because everyone has to do that in order to be at their best in the weekend against a very good Newcastle, I think, in my opinion. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you, Virgil.
Thank you.
How the game ended, I think the first leg, PSG were exceptional, but today they gave a good account for themselves, but obviously didn't do enough. There wasn't many clear-cut chances for them during the game outside of the first half, maybe. And yeah, so they played a very good team. I think that's the competition. We have to give credit to PSG, but the competition, obviously, they finished top of the league, thinking, maybe they get PSG, who is a very young, talented football club, who you have to give them credit. You can say about Liverpool and say, oh, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, but they also faced an exceptional team, young players who were prepared to run. and both teams gave absolutely everything. You know,
yeah, I think you're so spot on with that. It's always easy to look for criticism towards Liverpool, but I believe that this was a top match played by both sides in a very high level. I think they can be proud of what they did on the pitch. Today it was not their day. This time they played much better, but they lost. They played much worse and they won last week, so that's part of the game. But I think sometimes you really have to give credit to what we said, this young PSG that came here and performed the way they performed. So hats off for that.
You've all been in penalty shootouts. It's a very cruel way to end a great sporting occasion, isn't it? Whether it's the final of a major tournament, whether it's a match like this to go through to a quarter-final, and people will remember those penalties that were saved.
Yeah, it's great, obviously, when you win, but when you lose in a penalty shootout, it hurts. And you know, as Cladden said, both teams give everything. It was a classy game, and it's cruel when you lose on penalties, but you know, it's part of the game. PSG, I think, over the two legs were probably the better team. Over the two legs, so probably deserve to go through, and they'll be delighted. But I think the thing for Liverpool is they've got a cup final on Sunday, which there's no better way to bounce back to go and try and win silverware. There
isn't, but in terms of preparation for that, they wouldn't have wanted extra time and penalties. It's such a late night tonight, would they? Very tired bodies when they wake up and assess what happened today and look forward to Sunday.
Yeah, I think they've got long enough. Obviously, Tuesday to Sunday, they've got long enough. The next couple of days, they'll rest, they'll do the recovery, and have a couple of days training in preparation for Newcastle. So I think they'll be fine for Sunday.
Let's have a little look, shall we, back at those penalties that were saved, because Donnarumma, I said before, Daniel, of course, broke English hearts in the he's got a very good record in penalty shootouts. He was stood just metres away from this.
Yeah, and he's a big goalkeeper, fills the goal up, and yeah, these weren't even bad penalties. I feel, you know, sorry for the players. Of course, it's never nice to be the guy that misses a penalty, and
I mean,
no
one there, Jones's in particular, the way he gets down.
It's two brilliant saves, but no one will feel bad more than the players that have missed, is what I'm going to say. You know, obviously there's going to be fans at home who will be disappointed with who's missed and this and that, but as a player who had missed a penalty before in a competition, like, I know that you are lower than you can possibly be, because no matter what happened, there was 2 games in 90 minutes, 120 in this one, but in the end of the day, you obviously stepped up believing you could score it and you wanted to help the team, and unfortunately it didn't work out for you. So you just have to hope that obviously as a team everyone comes together, bring those players up, and they've got a game now that they can bounce back on the weekend, and hopefully that will be the game that will bring their confidence right back through the roof.
Yeah, fortunately that it's a final. I think because the hardest thing is the mental part, right? To really recover from the hit, to be knocked out of the Champions League. It's a tough moment. But if you have a final to come and to prepare for, that might
you
bring
think that's
back.
Good timing?
Yeah, well, better timing than it could be. Yeah, any other match would have been probably very hard to motivate for. Yeah.
And of course, they couldn't get past the brilliant Alisson, could they, in the first leg? But tonight, PSG took their penalties beautifully.
I thought the penalties were fantastic, and as we're seeing here, very calm. Very nervy penalty. The goalkeeper actually might do a little bit better on that one, but you can see PSG have worked on the penalties. This is a great penalty. No keeper in the world is saving that, and then obviously the penalty to win it. And we, as you said, we used to right at the side, right next to the PSG fans, and it was great scenes at the end.
Doué, the youngest ever penalty taker to win a penalty shootout in a Champions League match, an Olympic winner, of course, in the summer. What a moment for him. Okay, let's get reaction then from Liverpool manager Arne Slot, who was with Gabriel.
Arne Slot, a very tough night for your team. How do you sum it up?
I think it was the best game of football where I was ever involved in. Incredible performance, especially if you compare it with last week. First 20-25 minutes, we just were all over them, created chance after chance, and all of a sudden we were 1-0 down. So probably was almost the opposite. The luck we had last week, we ran out of luck after last week. Maybe that was it, because the margins were so small tonight.
Your team created chances, as you say, especially in the second half. Was the key not taking them, not seeing one of them go in that period?
Yeah. now we are after the game 120 minutes of football, penalties, but I think after 90 minutes, for me it felt clear that we deserved more than being 1-0 down. I was every time waiting for us to score. I don't think the second half, apart from the last 5 minutes where they threatened us once or twice, we played I would say the perfect game, except for us scoring goals. So it was similar for Paris Saint-Germain last week, where they played the perfect game and didn't score. And that's what happened to us today. And then in extra time, it was at least minimal. Maybe they were even a bit stronger.
Did some of the rhythm go a little bit for your team in an offensive sense in extra time?
It's always difficult if you put so much effort in. So the first 25, I've never seen them so aggressive and so intense as I saw them in the first 25 today. And then you look at the scoreboard and you see 1-0 down, unlucky goal as well. And that's difficult if you've already put so much effort in and you don't get the reward yet. That's sometimes difficult. And then in the end it comes down to penalties, and we as Dutch know how to lose it.
And you a big hug for Darwin Núñez and Curtis Jones. Obviously, a lot of sympathy for those guys. What are you saying? What do you hope the response is?
For now, everybody should be disappointed, and I know these players. That's also what they showed today. The resilience they showed. So last week, such a difficult game, and now to go out here today with the help of our fans, who were incredible tonight as well. It had everything what you would like to see from from a Liverpool perspective. Of course, we would have hoped to at least have a draw after 90 minutes, but yeah, came down to penalties.
It feels like a big setback because things have been so good and flowed so well for you. Is that how you feel about it in a way, to a degree? Is there a sense of shock about tonight and going out?
Yeah, it feels a bit unfair to go out in this round already. If you were top of the table and then you face such a strong team like Paris Saint-Germain. But yeah, that's also the nice part about football, that in a round like this you get teams facing each other. I think everybody around the world enjoyed watching this game. And the margins are small, and if you want to win it, you sometimes need a bit of luck. And last week we had some luck. I don't think we had it today. And then you're out, which feels hard. But now it's clear what we have to do for the rest of the season. 1 League Cup final and 9 Premier League games to go.
And how good are the team you've gone out to tonight?
Paris Saint-Germain.
Winners this competition now, but potential favourites even?
No, I wouldn't say favourites, because you know how much I like this team and how impressive they were last week and even today. It is not easy to play over here in these circumstances if we are so aggressive and we're so good. But they were able to keep to get the win over the line. It's a very good team, but there are many very good teams still in. And normally you face these teams in the semi-final and the final. But unfortunately for us, we had to face Paris Saint-Germain, one of the richest clubs in the world, already in this round.
It's strange to think that this Trent Alexander-Arnold, Salah and Virgil obviously out of waiting on contracts now. To think that tonight might be their last game in the Champions League for this club is a tough thought.
That's the last thing I think about. It's creative to come up with the contract situation. It's hard. Last season we weren't there in the Champions League. The season before we went out in the same round against Real Madrid. It's a completely different game. So again, I think Liverpool showed themselves in Europe, in the Champions League, in the way we want to show ourselves. And hopefully next year we have a bit more luck than this year.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The best game of football he's ever been involved with, he said, but he also admitted that this was perhaps the first setback, Clarence, of his tenure as manager of this football club. Things have gone so well for him so far.
Yeah, extremely well. I mean, sometimes you peak too early, and that I think it will happen, because it's true that today, I said it before, Liverpool can, go back and look back at a match that they gave everything. Luck, no luck. I think both sides would have had the same amount of chances, I would say, to score goals today. But against Paris Saint-Germain is where I believe Liverpool really lacks to come on the pitch with the right attitude and the right personality to dominate a much younger team, much less experienced, and find solutions at that spot. And I think that is the learning point, I think, for him, how to approach certain matches, how to change some stuff during the match in your favor, even when you don't play well.
Yeah, managerial experience as well as the players on the pitch. We talked a lot about the more experienced Liverpool side, but Arne Slot hasn't gone as far in the Champions League, perhaps as other managers.
Yeah, it's a tough competition, and I think Liverpool have been excellent all season. They've come up against a very good PSG team, and it could have went either way. But that's football. That's the Champions League. You can be outstanding in the competition, and one result obviously went down to penalties this evening. But I think he'll learn from that. I think the players will learn from this experience. I think, as Clan said there, last week, I think that maybe give PSG a little bit more confidence going into this game. Even though they lost the game, they knew they could compete and outfight Liverpool at times.
Remember, l'équipe, mission possible, and so it proved to be. This was the first time in 40 times that Liverpool have won an away leg in the Champions League knockout phase and actually not gone through. So you said earlier on, didn't you, on the pitch, history's made,
yeah.
And you have to change. You have to make new history.
Absolutely. And Gabi, I remember exactly my reaction after that match, the first leg. I said, Paris Saint-Germain has taken much more out of this match than Liverpool. When you have dominated, when you really feel, okay, you lost the match, but you have confidence that you can actually make something happen. And Liverpool would have to go back and look for solutions, which is a whole different mindset. And I think that's the big difference what happened. But he came here with confidence, which shouldn't have been.
Yeah, they should have scored goals in that first half against Liverpool last week, and Liverpool should have scored goals in the first half. Daniel, Mo Salah with a couple of chances for them.
Yeah, I mean, these are the fine margins, of course, fantastic defensive play from PSG. Every single shot which seemed to be going in the back of the net, it was either a player blocking it and, people putting their bodies on the line. Of course, in these moments for Mo, earlier on in the game, it was about, trying to be as clinical as he possibly could be. He wasn't. But, looking back at these chances, these are many chances both ways at the end of the day. They'll be absolutely devastated, of course they will. These are the type of nights that you live for as a football player, especially playing at home. You want to be able to put a show on and advance on your turf, and for it not to happen, and for it to happen on penalties as well, because it can go either way, and it's kind of like who manages the moment the best. Obviously PSG did, so you have to give them credit, as I said before.
Yeah, and of course the experience of Donnarumma in goal. Alisson, though, he also has had a great run, hasn't he, in penalty shootouts. But it comes down to those fine margins, those moments, and there's not a lot you can do when it comes to a penalty shootout, is there really? You have to walk away and say the game should have been won in normal or extra time.
Yeah, no, as I said, it's very cruel when you lose on penalties, and all you can do as an individual is focus on your job, and whether that's trying to score the goal or for the goalkeepers to try and save it. So, it's pot luck when it comes to a penalty shootout. But I think we have to give PSG a lot of credit to come to Anfield when Liverpool have been in great form and win the game in 90 minutes, go into extra time, thought they looked fresher in extra time. And to win on penalties, I think we'll give them an enormous amount of credit.
Yeah, and do you, unlike what Arne Slot, his answer to Gabriel, seemed to think he, wasn't rating them necessarily as the team to beat in this tournament? Have they now shifted up your standings?
Yeah, no, I think everyone will look at PSG now, and but obviously, I think, as Arne Slot said, that there's some very good teams left in the competition. The obvious ones, Real Madrid, who always seems to find a way when it comes to the later stages in the Champions League. So, some interesting games still to come.
Let's hear from their manager, shall we?
Congratulations. Over the course of the 2 legs and then extra time and penalties, do you think you deserve the win?
Well, it doesn't matter. That is not important. I think both of the teams deserve to go to the next phase. We overcome them in Paris. They played, I think, better than us here, but I think my team showed here in Anfield, in a special place, a special stadium, great personality, great character. We try to play our best, but it was very difficult because they are so intense and the atmosphere was great. But I think any of the both teams deserve to qualify.
What pleased you most about your young team tonight?
The character and personality, and even when we shoot the penalty in the penalty shootout, they show great character. The way we try to play, the way we shoot the penalties, I think it shows clearly the team that we are.
Arne Slot said that was the best European match she's ever watched. Would you agree? You've seen a few.
Yeah, a few of them. There are some special matches. Any match is special. I think when the draw told about the match against Liverpool and PSG, both managers told the same. One of the best matches that you can see or you can watch in Europe, and I think both teams were great.
And your team now, the level that they're at, what has made the difference? Why are PSG now such a force and able to knock out the leaders of the Premier League and to do what you've done?
Yeah, it's difficult to say something about that because that competition, it doesn't nothing to have with the consistency, because in 2 matches, if you do a bad match, you can be eliminated, and it's not about consistency. You have to be great in the specific moments. We suffered a lot in the first match in Paris. We suffered about the result because we didn't deserve that result, but football is in that way, unfair sometimes. Today, we were lucky in some moments because they hit the post a few times, and Gio was like Alisson in the first match. And at the end, football is going to take you something, but give you something. We are happy and we are confident to go to the next phase. And it's a good moment for our supporters, for the club, and we are going to follow on in that way.
It feels like a special night for you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, he's a manager with great experience, but he's managing a group of young players that perhaps people thought might take a bit longer to get to the top, to move themselves through these knockout phases in Europe. Are they moving ahead of schedule, do you think?
I would say so, but I think the way the managers coach them is giving them a lot of self-belief. The way in which he's changed the mindset of the PSG group over the previous years, they've not been as intense as this team have in terms of pressing, in terms of drowning teams out with their physicality. I think in the first leg, they didn't give Liverpool much time to breathe on the ball. In this game, they matched the intensity. They've come to Anfield and got a clean sheet. I mean, these are things that we wouldn't have anticipated prior to the game. Typically, we see Liverpool have more intensity than the opposition and would put it on them, whereas in this game, it was the flip of that, specifically in the first leg. And I think that the players are proving that they are ready to bring this club to the next level.
Because Clarence, you won with a very young team with Ajax, didn't you? Do you see similar qualities here?
I wouldn't compare, but definitely I always say when you're ready, you're ready. It doesn't really matter what age. And I was really wondering when we were speaking before the match together, will they be able to show that personality? Because at the end it's about that. I mean, you heard the words of the coach. When you have personality, you come to important matches. The age doesn't matter. Either you're ready or you're not. And they showed today that this team definitely have a lot of interesting players.
Can I ask you both a question? What your opinion is of when the manager says personality? What do you view that as?
Well, that you come in with confidence, that you believe in yourself, that you can dominate, that you can win, and you don't see the opponent as, you know, your idols. No, actually you come here to showcase your qualities and having that confidence on a personal level, but also as a team.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, as a young player, especially coming to places like Anfield, if you're making a mistake, it's being able to get over that mistake and you know, for your teammates to help you get through it as well. I think that's really important, and having that belief, I think belief that you can go and win the game, and I think PSG come here and had a strong belief that they could win the game and go through, and that's what we've seen.
Yeah, what you saw also is that because of this personality, they didn't give Liverpool the consistency of pushing all the time. there was always a moment of, okay, now I have the ball. So they had to build it up again, and so there was never like a 25 minutes, 30 minutes of Liverpool that we know that was pushing and then the goal would come. So I think they just were able to take out that how you call it, that energy of what happens here generally, right? And that is a big thing to do.
I didn't notice any self-doubt, and I think, you know, sometimes you see players hiding in games and they're like, oh, I don't want the ball. Where I looked at Dembélé and he was half saying, hurry up, pass me the ball. I want to make something happen, you know. Let's get the ball forward.
Young guys.
Yeah, and that's like something where you're watching the game and you're seeing players growing in confidence as they're playing these games. You're seeing the younger midfielders, the Vitinhas, the João Neveses, and how they are performing at this level. I'm watching these guys week in, week out at Liverpool, and what they've done to that midfield was yeah, special.
Let's get some more Liverpool reaction now. Andy Robertson is with Gabriel.
Bloody tough. It almost feels like a shock, having been so good in Europe this season, that suddenly you're out.
Yeah, of course, but that's the competition. You know, obviously, we got the win last week without playing our best. I thought we played so much better today, and you know, that's football. You end up being on the wrong end of the result, but can't question the effort, the endeavour, the everything that we put into the game. And you know, it was just two really good teams going at it. When it goes to penalties, it's always a lottery, and unfortunately for us, we're on the wrong side of it. But you know, obviously can't be prouder of the players, how much effort we put in, and it's just unfortunate that the efforts weren't rewarded.
Was maybe the key as well, at the start of the second half, you did manage to get maybe your longest spell of dominance across the two games, but there wasn't the finish, there wasn't the end product.
Yeah, of course, whenever, you know, I think last week a lot was said about them not taking their chances. I think today we never took our chances. You know, second half we kept pushing, and unfortunately we couldn't quite you know, get back on level terms of the night, which would have got us through. So like, we've got a lot to look back on, but I think there'll be a lot of positives from this game. But you know, obviously it's massive disappointment not going through.
Yeah, will it feel like a missed opportunity because of the level you've been playing at?
Yeah, of course, but you know, I think for finishing top of the group, we got the toughest tie of the whole Champions League. You know, PSG are a fantastic team, got threats all over the pitch, and you know, if they play to that level, they should go far in the competition. So, you know, we obviously got a really tough tie, and we believed that we could get through, and I think, you know, at times we showed that we could, and you know, if luck was on our side a little bit more, then maybe we were the ones celebrating, but it wasn't meant to be, and we need to dust ourselves down. We've got Cup final Sunday, and you know, then we've got a big push for the Premier League come after internationals.
Obviously wonderfully placed in the Premier League. What do you expect to be the response from this team on Sunday?
Look, we always bounce back. There's a lot of tired legs in there, and we need to recover properly. We need to get ready to go, and but we will be. You know, cup finals, we enjoy them, and you know, that's the biggest games. And then, like I says, once we get that one out the way, then we've had a real intense period of time. We get internationals, a little bit of a break, and then you know, we go full throttle for the Premier League.
Still a double on.
True.
Well done. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done, Gabriel, managing to bring a smile to his face there, because obviously, I mean, 15 points clear. Is anybody going to argue that Liverpool aren't going to win the Premier League this season? Good, OK, so we can park that one. And then Sunday is the other part of a double, and that is something to get yourself up for, isn't it? Everything is on Sunday now.
Yeah, it is. And I think Liverpool have to be careful they don't let tonight's result bring them down, because I think last season they went through a period of about a week where I think they went out to Champions League, then they went out of one of the cups, and the FA Cup, and they allowed it to affect the performances in other competitions. So I think they have to really concentrate on Sunday, because Newcastle, it's a massive game for Newcastle as well on Sunday, and they'll be doing everything to try and win. And
then the international break, is that a good thing or a bad thing when you're trying to galvanise your team?
Maybe a good thing. At this point,
because they've got such a big buffer at the top of the table.
Yeah, as a coach, okay, go do your bad things in the national team and come back with a proper attitude. No, I think any match that comes with importance is good for these players. Distract them from what happened. You have to have a new focus, so even the national team can give that. And for those players that maybe won't go to the national team, being able to just perform, maybe also a little break go with your family, be a few days off and just refresh, right? And you have to pick it up. I mean, these guys are professionals. They know that you have to just turn page and move ahead, and I'm sure they will. But as Wayne said, it's also a dangerous thing if you will let it affect you, and then 15 points can be a lot, but can also not be enough.
This whole new Champions League format, the league phase and this knockout phase now, has thrown up some really interesting ties, hasn't it? And to finish top of the league and get, as it was alluded to there, I think by Arne Slot, then to get Paris Saint-Germain, such a tough tie. Will it, do you think, change people's approach next season, thinking, well, it doesn't really matter if we finish top because we can rest it in a few games because we don't get rewarded for it by getting an easy team through to the quarterfinals?
Yeah, there's no reward, is there? But that's what they wanted to do. That's the nature of the new format, and
it could work the other way for you, of course, as well. So
yeah, it could. I mean, in the end, look, they faced a good team. It's unfortunate that they've faced PSG, who at the time were obviously in a bad moment, which is why they finished so low in the competition.
Yeah, but such a lackluster start, didn't they?
Yeah, but they've managed to improve so much. The managers got them playing a certain way. The players have believed in that, and they've been able to implement his plans on the pitch, and it's showing in their performances. So, for the players to be in such high confidence, unfortunately for Liverpool, you finish top of the group, you're thinking, yeah, rubbing your hands together, thinking, oh, maybe we could get an advantageous team. But I remember Arne Slot saying, we don't know who we're going to get. And when you see PSG, you're thinking, it doesn't feel like we're being rewarded for what we've done in the group phase.
OK, well,
Liverpool came into this game with a 1-0 advantage from the first leg, but PSG wasted no time in wiping that out. Ousmane Dembélé found the net early on, levelling the tie on aggregate and setting the stage for a tense battle. Despite creating chances, Arne Slot's side couldn't find the breakthrough. Mohamed Salah had two great opportunities, and Dominic Szoboszlai even thought he had scored, only for his goal to be ruled out for offside. As the final whistle blew at 1-1 on aggregate, penalties were needed to decide who would advance to the quarter-finals. Unfortunately for Liverpool, Gianluigi Donnarumma was the hero, saving spot kicks from Darwin Núñez and Curtis Jones. With PSG converting all four of their penalties, the Reds were sent crashing out of the competition. Heartbreak. Liverpool's European dream ends. Liverpool will feel unlucky not to have scored, but over two legs, PSG were deserved winners. Now, the focus shifts for the Reds. Injuries to Trent Alexander-Arnold and Ibrahima Konate add to their concerns, and with the Carabao Cup final just days away, Slot has a big job on his hands to lift his squad's spirits. The Premier League title race is still alive, but the European campaign is officially over for this season. Trophy. What's next? PSG now advance to the quarterfinals, where they will face the winner of Aston Villa versus Club Brugge. Meanwhile, Liverpool must regroup quickly as they prepare to fight for domestic silverware. A tough night for Liverpool, but do you think they can bounce back and still win the Premier League? And can PSG go all the way in the Champions League? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to SportLab for all the latest football analysis. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.